ॐ सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Namaste. Tree is compared to be a noble person or a good person. So, what is the difference between the tree and the good person or a noble person? So, if you look at the tree, what happens? It gives a tremendous amount of shadow for all the people, and it takes the heat from the sun and gives a shadow, and also give a kind of the fruits for the benefit of others. So they always say, Sat Purushaha. That means when the Sat Purusha means the good people. I am still learning. I am still learning by Michelangelo. He's a great guy. He's a sculptor, a painter, an architect, a poet, and he is married to the art. He is a bachelor. Now, he lived fully. He did not exist because he was able to use the life energy to the fullest extent. Now, at the age of 80s, now he was still, painting, and he is to painting and sculpting. All the disciples are quite surprised. This man has a tremendous amount of passion for painting and art. Then he had a health problem at the later stage of the life. So all these, the disciples used to lift him, and look at the eyes of the Michelangelo, and then move to the particular painting. And this man, with all his pain and other things, used to keep on doing it, even at the age of 80s. Now, one of the disciples asked him, Master, you have done so much. So, why are you struggling? You are, suffering with the pain. You are able to still doing all these things also. So, I don't understand. So, why don't you stop, Master? The Michelangelo looked at the eyes of the disciple and told him, yeah, there is a body will have a pain. This pain will be forgotten. But the beauty of the paint and other things will always remain. What do you mean by that? There is no gain without pain. Now, see, for example, the pain will be forgotten, but the beauty of the pain will be there forever. So, this is what the purpose of this learning. There is no question of age of learning. From the womb to the tomb, you must keep on, learning. So, if you are not able to learn, you are already dead. We are waiting for the burial. That's all. Okay, that is one. See, what is the message you get it from the Michelangelo? See, now he is a bachelor. He is married to the arts, and he is able to enjoy, and he had a lot of pain, but he keeps on, telling, I am learning. Now, that means the difference between the existing and the living is that I must be able to contribute. Good. So, this is the powerful message from Michelangelo. Okay. Now, most of the people have a lot of fear, which we discussed earlier also. Okay, I like this particular quotation. The fear does not prevent death. See, everybody knows that we are to die one day or other. The mortality is inevitable. Okay, we know it, but we are not able to accept. Okay, now the fear does not prevent the death, but it prevents the life. When you are living, you are dying. When you are living, you are dying. So what do you mean by that? The very fear of death will not make you to perform. Okay. See, now I would like to explain to you, which is very powerful. Say, we have got 4 goals in life. Goal number 1 is the security. In Sanskrit, they call it the artha. Artha. In Sanskrit, they say it is a artha. Then the second goal is the kama, that is a pleasure. The third one is the dharma, the values. Okay, the most important thing, initially, you start with the security and the pleasure and also the value. Now, there are people who stop with the security itself. They are only existing. They are only breathing. They are not living. So, please try to understand the difference between the living and the existing. The people who are only satisfied with the secondary goals, like artha, kama, dharma. Okay, that means you are only existing, you are not really, living. That's the secondary goal. Now the question is, when I say security, see, that means everybody needs security, right? That is the beginning. Now you cannot stop at this particular one. Once you get the security, that means you look for a kind of a pleasure, all the the enjoyment and all the other things. Okay, that means you have to have the security and also have the pleasure. Now the question is whether you can have it with the right values or the wrong values. That means you must have a kind of a dharma. When I say the dharma, it is a value. Now if you are able to have the artha and the kama with the dharma, it is great. It's very good. You are able to achieve the secondary goal. That means you are able to exist with a kind of a meaning. Now the most important thing in life, okay, the last one is the primary goal. Goal number 4, that is a moksha. What do you call as the liberation? See, now listen very carefully. One is I need the security, I need the pleasure and enjoyments, but I must understand whatever I am doing, the artha and the kama, that is security and the pleasure, must have the value. Suppose if you don't have the value, that means you are like an animal. You don't have any kind of a value system. Okay, if you have the artha, kama and dharma, it is great. You are got a good life. You are living with a purpose. Now, everyone knows when we are born, but very people know why we are born. See, the when and why is equally important, or the why is more important than the when. Okay, so you never had any choice when you are born. Now, the way in which you are living, you have a choice, the free will. So that means the last one is the primary goal, is a kind of the moksha, which we call the liberation. So, when you say moksha, it is not the question of, getting the liberation after the death. No. If you are able to understand the right values and you are able to live fully with a tremendous amount of life energy, see, that means you are able to enjoy every time and all the time. That means there is a kind of the pleasure and pain. See, life is full of ups and downs. So there will be a pain, there will be a pleasure, there must be success, there must be a failure, there must be the kind of the honor and dishonor. Okay. Now whatever that you have it, you never ask for it. But once you get it, you have to accept it. Then the acceptance, whatever that you are experiencing, is the liberation. So what is liberation? There's nothing like, getting liberation after the death. No. When you are living with a kind of a dharma, with the value, and if you are able to contribute, and you are able to be happy all the time in a blissful way, see, that means you have got the liberation. This is what you call the moksha. So this is the primary goal. Please try to understand the when and why. Okay, the why is more important. Why I am born? Not to suffer, but I must enjoy. Okay, now it is not in my hands, but the acceptance of getting the good and bad, the success and failure, the pain and power, all these things must be taken in equally with a lot of poise. This is what I call it samatvam in Sanskrit. Samatvam. That means, equipoise. Okay. Now this is the purpose of the human goal in life. What is the primary and the secondary, you understand. That is artha kama dharma is the secondary. The primary is the kind of a liberation. I want to tell a story from Mahabharata. When Pandavas were in the forest, they were feeling very thirsty. Now, the one brother went there to bring the water. Then what happens when he was almost about to drink the water? That means when Yaksha asked him some questions, which this brother is ignored. Then he took the water. That means, he died. Then like this, the second brother and third brother and the fourth brother, all of them did the same thing. So all of them are dead. Now the last one, the Yudhishthira, he went there. Then he found out that all the four brothers are dead. Then he was almost trying to take the water. Yaksha asked about 125 questions to the Yudhishthira. But one of the question is so brilliant. Yaksha asked him, what is the most wonderful thing? Then Yudhishthira said, the most amazing thing is that even though every day one sees countless living entities dying, he still acts and thinks as if he will live forever. That means all of us, we know that so many people are dying every day, but we always feel that it will happen for somebody else, not to me. Now, if you are able to accept the mortality, that means you will have a beautiful life. So, the moral of this particular story is that the difference between the living and existing, that means artha kama is just existing. And if you also have a dharma, it is fine. But if you are really living with a full life energy, that means you get liberated. Okay. Now I like this particular statement of Vivekananda. So when you say Vedanta, that means the philosophy which it talks about the moksha, the ultimate goal of a human being. It teaches the moksha, this is nirvana, can be attained here and now. You don't have to wait for the death. If you are to be happy with all the success and failure, okay, and pain and pleasure, that you are all the same samatvam. That means here and now, you have got the moksha. Okay, we don't have to wait for the death to reach it. So I just read it for everyone to understand. The Vedanta teaches that the nirvana means moksha, can be attained here and now. Here and now. That we do not have to wait for the death to retrieve it. You just think what is the difference between the living with the full energy or existing just only by breathing. Okay, just by breathing you will exist. Okay, there is a purpose and a goal, and especially the primary goal. That means you will live forever. Okay, maybe it is little bit difficult to digest, but you have to listen and also reflect, assimilate. Then you will feel, yeah, it is really worth learning, understanding, and then living. Okay, take care. All the best. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः